Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gym Challenge 27 here in Pico Rivera, California. My name is Sister Coronel, this is Dennis Geisler here. We have arrived at the grand finals. Alberto Lara will go up against Brandon Davis, who survived the onslaught that was the Gym Challenge Premier Challenge. And we are here once again with Alberto, with the Dragonite Pelipper, Amoonguss Urshifu Rapid Strike, Golden Go Chenpao, with Brandon having a Whimsicott Terrakion, Hisuian Gudra, Hisuian Zoroark, Urshifu Single Strike, and Ogerpon Wellspring.
Yeah, we finally get to see Alberto / Ellie's team against not the exact same team.
We had that yesterday.
We had it yesterday, but for today. And then on Brandon's side, we get to see this Terrakion Hisuian Zoroark team again. That is so interesting, and against a pretty interesting matchup. Again, remember in the last battle, we didn't see either of those players bring the Pelipper for the rain. We could see Alberto do that here. It's not necessarily ideal, but getting the rain set up isn't necessarily a negative. And it could certainly help with some damage. Particularly, Pelipper can certainly help parts of this matchup here. You also have to...
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have grand finals about to get underway with game number 1 here. Alberto and Brandon. Brandon, unfortunately, earlier on the stream, lost to Josh Winfield, who he ended up getting revenge on in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, exactly. He's made his way all the way back here. I mean, you can see why Brandon's one of our top players out here in
you also see why, you also see why he's also Honolulu bound as well. And he's going to lead Whimsicott and Ogerpon.
Maybe.
And we're going to see Alberto lead Chenpao Golden Go.
See, this time we've got it from Alberto's perspective, so we literally don't know if that's if that's Zoroark or not. We have no idea.
Well, it could be potentially any of these 3 Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably not Golden Go or Chenpao that are Zoroark, but I'm not going to rule it out.
Brandon has a Zoroark.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we can't necessarily tell if Brandon has Zoroark on the field in the same way as before. And that really complicates the decision making, but I do think a Make It Rain or just a Protect. Honestly, Protect stalling is pretty good.
Yeah, I think Double Protect might actually give away the Zoroark if it does.
It has to, yeah.
Whimsicott goes for the Tailwind. Unfortunately for Alberto's Chenpao did not go for Protect as yet. Ogerpon Shadow Balls into the Golden Go.
I was gonna say, it has to show off whether it's Zoroark or not, and so early Protect can certainly help.
Here's Icicle Crash. It does land onto the Whimsicott. Pretty unreliable move at that. 95% accuracy. Sometimes never reliable at some points, but it will take a Whimsicott down to the Focus Sash, and unfortunately that Ogerpon got ousted. Yeah,
and I think now you can Sucker Punch trap the Ogerpon.
Quote unquote.
The Ogerpon. And just kind of let your Golden Go hang out, because I don't think it should be able to eat a Sucker Punch, and I think past that, if it switches out, you can do something, I don't know, like a Make It Rain or something that'll hit both those targets, because realistically, you are going to seriously dominate this matchup if you're able to clean up this lead as easily as it seems like Alberto is positioning to. Although the Tailwind got up, which can be pretty significant.
Golden Go is just going to switch out for Alberto in fear of that Zoroark that's not been uncovered for that Mask of Ogerpon.
It could be anything.
Chenpao goes for the Sucker Punch. It is going to be super effective onto that Ogerpon. Yeah. Oh, wait! Why is it super effective? It's a Zoroark!
It is, in fact, Zoroark. And yeah, I like that play from Alberto and Brandon. Don't really know what the option is here. I guess
Moonblast to put the Chenpao down the Sash.
Which isn't terrible, but it also means now that Chenpao still gets one more hit off, or it still gets one more Sucker Punch in particular, because the Tailwind will still let it get outsped. Which still means that it kind of traps, and I think that's the real Ogerpon this time.
Yeah.
It still means that it kind of traps Whimsicott a little bit, although Whimsicott doesn't have to attack it. But it makes kind of an awkward situation where Amoonguss can kind of slurp up any damage, and Chenpao can just kind of launch out Sucker Punches. Or it can Protect, I don't know.
We're going to see Ogerpon just go for the Spiky Shield just in case that Chenpao tries to... I mean, no, Icicle Crash is just safe there in that position. And yeah, we're going to see the Chenpao go for a Protect of its own. Whimsicott has the move here. It's going to be Misty Terrain to block potential Spores, but... I guess right now it's not in the worst spot. I guess the only thing you're blocking right now is Sludge Bomb from the Amoonguss, which would have hit the Ogerpon here.
Ooh, and I would have liked it if Alberto had cleaned up the Whimsicott with that, but is what it is, honestly, and I think you can still trap the Whimsicott with Sucker Punch here, which is a
That's
nice...
if it goes for it.
Yeah. Well, and it's the sort of thing where even if the Whimsicott doesn't attack, you're still kind of, yeah. It's like the worst thing that happens is it switches out or something like that, and you get to see what's switched.
Urshifu single strike is Brandon's last Pokemon here.
And yeah, it is the Urshifu.
And it tried to sucker punch the Whimsicott.
But you're also stalling out turns of Tailwind for every turn that Brandon is not. Every turn that Brandon is not attacking your Chien-Pao or switching out or whatever. And obviously it was able to get rid of the Chien-Pao there.
Here's the Sludge Bomb from the Amoonguss into his Ogerpon. Not doing, it's only doing over half damage, but thanks
Really
to the
good damage.
Thanks to the Misty Terrain, it's not going to poison, but unfortunately Tailwind's gone.
Yeah, that's really good damage. Interesting choice to go into Urshifu here. I guess you could just go for like a straight up, well, I guess you can go for a straight up close combat here. Because again, that is single strike Urshifu, but it's Black Glasses, it's not Focus Sash, so it will just get dropped by close combat. And it makes it kind of an awkward spot for Brandon to be in, because you could either save the Urshifu with a Follow Me, which will absolutely get your Ogerpon knocked out, and also your Urshifu hit pretty hard.
Yeah, this Urshifu is a weird spot for Brandon because you do threaten a lot of damage towards either the Amoonguss or the Urshifu should you choose which target it is, but we did see the hover of a Terra Fairy there for Alberto's Amoonguss, and that just means that Dark-type moves will be ineffective against all of Alberto's team, and we're gonna see a Terra come from Brandon, and it's gonna be the Ogerpon.
Yeah, I think the goal for Alberto this turn appears to be to get the Ogerpon out of the way as quickly as possible. Because then the Amoonguss the Amoonguss Terrastal will become very valuable.
And here's the Terra from Alberto as well. I believe this is just going to be the Amoonguss to the Fairy Terra, which is pretty uncommon for it in times like this. But, you know, in a situation like now, it's not the worst thing to have. It's probably the best situation for you.
Yeah, it makes it strong against Urshifu, but it also makes it much more vulnerable against Ogerpon, which means that I think this has to be a close combat and be Ogerpon.
Oh, it is! And down goes Ogerpon!
Yeah, and that's a nice move there because now you can just keep Rage Powdering. What's Urshifu going to do? What's Whimsicott going to do? Well, yeah, I guess Whimsicott can hit you, but you're scarfed. You can finish off Whimsicott and Urshifu.
Wicked blows into the Amoonguss. Yeah, it does around a quarter.
Yeah, you can keep Rage Powdering in that spot. Finish off the Whimsicott this turn because Whimsicott, I mean, it can't do anything. It's like not as fast as the Scarf on Urshifu. And so Urshifu can finish that off. Amoonguss can take another Wicked Blow.
Battle is canceled.
Yeah.
Alberto comfortably takes game number 1 here, a grand finals here. I don't know. I think as soon as that Zoroark got ousted at game 1, I think everything just went downhill for Brandon.
Yeah, I think that needed to be a switch out. That's the thing about Zoroark, and probably the number one reason why it hasn't really become especially popular is because it's insanely frail and doesn't have a ton of utility in some ways. And so, like, its typing is really nice offensively. Defensively, it has a couple immunities, but it's weak, and it's only weak to Dark. But it's weak to Dark, and also it just gets hit really hard by everything. And so as soon as it was kind of blanked out of the way, and Chien-Pao kind of read out that first turn pretty decently. Like, in general, Alberto read out that first turn very well. With the Protect, and then Chien-Pao doing a bunch of damage onto the Whimsicott. Tailwind got up, but Tailwind ended up not mattering all that much in the grand scheme of things. And I wonder if Brandon will opt less for the Tailwind, maybe go for something like a Terrakion lead, or faking the Terrakion lead, just to change things up a little bit, because the Tailwind clearly did not work.
Nah, it only like worked for like maybe like one instance where the Urshifu was by that point it was just gone because
yeah,
like,
the Urshifu came in afterwards.
Yeah, and then it's just like that Whimsicott wasn't able to outspeed that Chien-Pao, but it really just gained no benefit. And it makes me wonder, you could probably leave Whimsicott and Zoroark again, and then maybe just go for a double up into the Chien-Pao, get rid of it early if you're gonna predict the duel to go to protect turn 1 like the last game.
Yeah, and that's certainly an option, although you do have to then worry about the Chien-Pao protect and Golden Go going for like a Make It Rain or something. Like it ends up being like a 50-50 play, and I wonder if Brandon wants to go for something a little higher value.
Or potentially, you can just hide the Zoroark in the back and do the whole, who's the Pokemon?
Which one is which? Yeah, that's an option as well, and showing the Terrakion in the front, because I feel like that might be the ideal and scariest option that Brandon has open to him at this point is Whimsicott Terrakion.
Yeah, but the one issue with that, if this Goldango coming in here, because even though you're +4 attack, if you do pull that off, as we're going to see Whimsicott and Urshifu as the lead here,
Probably.
the issue would have been that even if the Urshifu, even Terrakion was a +4 attack, I don't think it was anywhere near close to knocking out Goldango, even with Sword of Ruin.
Yeah, that's right. I like the Urshifu adaptation, just to start things off. Because
I mean, do we know this is Urshifu?
we don't know if it's Urshifu. If it is Urshifu, it's able to take out the Chien-Pao. It's
a
faster
Sash.
than Chien-Pao. Oh yeah, it's not Rapid Strike. Never mind. I hate it. I actually.
Chien-Pao Sash.
Well, yeah, I thought it was Rapid Strike Urshifu, which would have gotten through the Sash, but I forgot that it's not. So actually, I hate the Urshifu. I hope that's Zoroark.
Well, if it's a Zoroark, do you just
It can hit Golden Go, and it forces the Golden Go switch out at the very least, which is nice.
And in comes a Mungus for that slot here. What do we see out of Brandon's Pokemon here? We see a Terastallization here, and I believe this actually is the real Urshifu.
It could
Yeah,
be.
it is.
It could be the real Urshifu, in fact.
It is.
Yeah, it is the real Urshifu.
Because if it was Zoroark, it would have just undone the disguise.
That is true, yeah. So, it is the real Urshifu, and it will do a bunch of damage.
Sacred Sword comes out. Not enough for the
Not
knockout,
enough.
unfortunately. Brandon, here comes the Moonblast into the... Oh, he tried to double into the Golden Go, I believe, as a special attack drop goes in that way. Here's a big Black Glasses boosted Wicked Blow into the Amoonguss. It wasn't double into the Golden Go, and it's enough for a knockout on the Amoonguss as a combination.
I like that move quite a bit because there wasn't really a whole lot that could... that made the play bad, basically. And now... I mean, now with the Dragonite coming out, that's actually a little iffy because you can Sucker Punch into that. You can Sucker Punch into the Dragonite and you can feel pretty comfortable with that. Or you could Sucker Punch into the Chien-Pao, frankly, but I don't know if you necessarily want to go for that right now.
I think Extreme Speed just takes the knockout on the Urshifu at this range, and that's probably the issue right now because Sword of Ruin and Extreme Speed just go hand in hand together since the very beginning.
Yeah, sure does. Is Sucker Punch? Sucker Punch priority. Not enough.
Top +2.
+2.
Well, Extreme Speed is
Urshifu
+2, and then Urshifu is just +1 because of the Sucker Punch. So down it goes.
Yeah, okay.
And now Whimsicott, it's kind of in a weird spot because if you set up Tailwind, it's not really the best of spots to do it. Yeah, you just kind of have to go for the Icicle Crash here, and it connects onto the Whimsicott. It will go on the Sash. Bigger question: does it flinch?
Yeah, and whether it flinches or not, it's going to.
It gets the Moonblast off, and it goes into the Chien-Pao, so now it goes to Sash once again.
Yeah, and this Whimsicott is actually kind of a threat right now, but you do have to just, like, Brandon has to have something in the bag to deal with these Pokemon.
It's Gooch. Okay, Gooch is one of them.
Ooh, I like Goodra, actually. I like Goodra quite a bit here. And you can get a Tailwind up for Goodra, and Goodra can then threaten Ice Beam onto Dragonite, threaten, I don't know, whatever, to do 1 damage to Chien-Pao. Or you could just Tailwind and then get something else in there. Although, actually, Extreme Speed beats out the Prankster Tailwind. That is true.
Yeah, it would be on the Prankster Tailwind here. And that would just get into a point where it's like, oh, you just don't get the Tailwind anymore. And then just Assault Vest Goodra just kind of has to knock out something. And they completely has to knock out the Chien-Pao at that point. And yeah, Whimsicott's going to switch out into Ogerpon for that slot.
I kind of like this, actually. I think a solid win condition here is actually Goodra in Tailwind, especially with the Whimsicott. So we'll certainly see, and this makes it resistant to all that stuff that Goodra was able to do to it, so finishing off the Chien-Pao might be ideal. But it's not like this thing can do much to Goodra. It can Stomping Tantrum, which is super effective, but...
And there is the, big damage from that Extreme Speed.
Yeah.
The 2-hit knockout into his Ogerpon. Here's the Sacred Sword.
Ugh.
That's so much damage to that Goodra. Here comes Ice Beam into this Assault Vest. Oh, I think I actually had to assume this right now. I think Alberto has too much damage to... I think he has too much damage output. I think he's going to win the set.
I was not expecting how much damage was going to be output there, and I think Brandon was not figuring that that was going to be a Terra, because if it wasn't a Terra, I think it would have gotten pretty close to a knockout, which could have done a lot for the rest of that battle. But given that it's a Terra, I mean, it's still the double priority here. Extreme Speed will absolutely finish off Ogerpon.
Here's Extreme Speed. This will be finishing off something. It will finish out that Ogerpon, and that means Sacred Sword will be enough to finish out the Goodra. And I believe Alberto's going to win back-to-back Premier Challenges.
Yeah, it's looking pretty likely. Sacred Sword launched into there, and now it's just the Whimsicott left, and the Whimsicott is...
at 1 HP.
It's at 1 HP, and Extreme Speed will definitely hit it and definitely knock it out. There's just no way around that.
So Alberto has ran through so much of the competition. He's been able to go undefeated, mind you, at 5-0 in this Premier Challenge. And this is how the tournament ends. The battle is canceled. Alberto Lara wins back-to-back gym challenges once again.
Yeah, that's a real impressive run that he's on. What an interesting team. We did not even see the Pelipper at all with that rain. Mostly got to see the Chen Pao starring quite a bit in this one, and the Dragonite quite a bit in the last set, as well as that Golden Go. There's just so much like threat of damage, but also a lot of threat of kind of lingering around, you know? Like the Chen Pao has the sash, so you always have to devote a couple of hits to the Chen Pao. Dragonite has the Assault Vest, so even though it's Terra Normal and can Extreme Speed and can do some real damage, it still is a threat to linger a little bit. Golden Go is a little bit bulky, just enough to take a hit or two. Even in that matchup, it was really hard to get rid of the Urshifu. There's just so much that Alberto has to kind of feign the team being bulky, even though the team isn't super bulky. And then it also has the Amoonguss to really layer on top of all that. It's a fascinating team. I haven't seen a whole lot of something exactly like this, but I really like it.
Yeah, and the whole formula for success for Alberto was defeating Ellie. Because if you beat Ellie, you win the tournament.
I mean, that's certainly true. That is what has happened here. And definitely, on the other end, pretty impressive of Brandon to get all the way to finals with the Hisui and Zoroark. Yeah, not something we've seen in a while.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to be happy to put Zoroark's CP bar at least higher, as he already secured... Both these trainers actually secured their trips to Honolulu with their CP invites, although I believe Alberto's fighting for a top 8 spot to get those accommodations and the first round bye should he want it. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be concluding our coverage of Gym Challenge 28. We'll be here on Saturday next week for Gym Challenge 29. You won't want to miss it. It will be the final regulation tournament of this season. And it was the one last goodbye to this wonderful format that lasted since the beginning of the Indigo Disc. With that, I've been Jesus Coronel. This has been Dennis Geisler. I'm going to say so long, and we'll hope we see you Saturday.